Greater Philadelphia. I'm Sarah Tymon. I'm here with Stacey Mitchell. We've got Gabe behind the camera, and Tom Toole will be joining us here in just a minute. We are listening to Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM. We are streaming live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and you can look us up at tomtoolerealestate.com. So we've got a lot to dive into here today. We're gonna break into some of these articles and a lot of what's been going on here in the past week in just a minute. But to start us off this week, now that we are officially in 2023, we were kind of just going to go over a little bit about reaching out to our clients and what type of sentiment we've been hearing back from clients, both buyers and sellers, that we've been reaching out to here in the first 10 days of the new year. Stacey, what's been going on?
That was a great intro, Sarah, I have to say. I love that. What's been going on? So what I've really been seeing out in the market is very, very positive. The majority of my clients that I've reached out to or have that gotten back to me, they're very receptive and interested in learning what's going on in the market. Yeah. A lot of them didn't even know that, there's interest rates to be had less than 6% right now. Mm-hmm. And I see a lot of activity in the CRM. Mm-hmm. I see a lot of people looking that weren't looking before.
Right.
So I'm reaching out. I have a great text message that I've been getting a lot of feedback from.
Oh, send it to me.
I will. I'll give it to you. It's a great way to kick it off for like 2023 and what are your goals. Mm-hmm. So that has been pretty productive.
Yeah.
And that's on the buy side. And I think this on the sell side, same thing. The sellers who are considering, they're very interested in knowing where they stand in the marketplace today.
Right.
If it's still in their favor, which it is, mostly because of the low inventory levels. But they want to know going into it, that there's still opportunity for them to be had.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what's nice about a new year is like it's there in the calendar, So you have people that maybe you were talking to earlier in 2022 that say, reach out to me in the new year. So you're following up like you said that you would. They may or may not be expecting your call depending on, the last time that you spoke to them, but it's a new year. Like what do we want to do? Mm-hmm. So you've got a lot of those people. Then you've got other people who, again, you can see have been active on the site. And it's an easy way to kind of approach and be like, it's 2023. Like, what do you want to do this year? Like,
are you going to still continue to rent?
Right. So it's definitely a nice opening. I've had a number of people that, have kind of come back or are curious to hear, what we expect to see this year, both with rates, pricing, timelines. People are open to have those conversations, which is nice. And then I've also had a couple of the conversations where, particularly on the buy side, somebody, says what they've heard or they think is going on, and I've actually been able to update them and say, like, nationally maybe that's the headline, but this is where we're at locally, which, you and I both know the national market is very different from our local market. Have you had any big pushbacks so far this year?
I have not, honestly. I mean, there was more pushback in the fall last year, I think, when the interest rates were really, really going up and down like the roller coaster ride.
Right.
And I think that, like you said, it's a new calendar. Mm-hmm. The distractions of holidays are over. Mm-hmm. People were traveling or they had family in. There was a lot going on during that time. So people, unless they absolutely had a need to buy or sell, they just were like, nah, call me after we've turned this page here.
Right.
And so now that their minds are more cleared and their schedules are a little bit more flexible, and they're open to these conversations, which I think is fantastic, but not so much pushback as was last fall. People are receptive, and I think people are getting used to the idea that this is where the interest rates are going to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think we're also we're gearing up for the spring market. This is the time. If you wanna list in the spring, it's not too soon to start talking to somebody now. If you want to buy, but you don't have all of your ducks in a row yet, like this is the time to really start having those conversations and start figuring out, like, what do I need to do to be in the best position? So even if you are somebody that's saying, I want to wait till the spring market, like, cool, but let's get those pieces in place and start having those conversations now. And it's not so far away that it's like, all right, well, in 6 months is when you're going to be doing something. It's time goes by quickly.
Time goes by so quickly, yes. Especially when you have processes and procedures to go through.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of folks, if they do own a home but they really want to move, they're not quite, they kind of put the cart before the horse sometimes. Mm-hmm. They'll go out and they'll start looking at homes and not even have a plan of how they want to get into that home.
Right.
And there's a lot of questions that need to be answered. Do you have to sell first?
Mm-hmm.
Do you absolutely have to liquidate and use those proceeds to get into your new home?
Right.
What does that look like?
Right.
Or could you get pre-approved for the purchase price, the home that you're looking for, or
right.
to move in, or whether you're upsizing or downsizing?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to get pre-approved? With that house, can you get pre-approved even though you own the current home?
Right.
Some people can.
Right. And just knowing that and being able to know you have different options in case if the right home does pop up and you need to get more competitive, like, that's definitely something that's good to know in advance, as well as, what type of loan do you qualify for? What are you qualified for? And do you want to max out your budget there, or like, what are you comfortable paying per month? Because the last thing you want to do is start looking at homes in one price category and then find out that you can't afford that. And then all of a sudden, everything that you're looking at afterwards, you're going to feel a certain way about, because now you saw things up at the next price point.
Yes. And you've had that happen.
Oh, yeah.
I've had that happen. It's kind of like a buzzkill.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Because then, anything you see after that is, yeah, you're like, well, this isn't as good as the other one.
Yeah, it's a little disappointing,
Yeah.
You want to start out somewhere where you're going to be, that's where you're going to be purchasing at.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, so far I feel like 2023 has really kicked off with some good momentum. People, I think we both, they seem positive, they seem happy, they seem excited. And we're going to be diving into the spring market here before we know it.
Yeah, I'm super excited because I think that it's going to be a really good spring market that we're headed into.
Yeah, absolutely. We just have Tom Toole joining us. Excellent.
Tom Toole in the house.
The traffic was not so fantastic.
Horrific. Horrific. Anyway, thanks for taking the ship here, ladies. So you're talking about 2023 and how it's the year for your clients. So what are some of the economic indicators you think are part of that? Like, there's been some changes, especially from Logan Motoshami and some other people having these like lead indicators. So what are you seeing there that's getting people excited and it's getting consumers kind of coming back to the market? Because I've heard a lot of that happening with a lot of the prospects that you guys have been working with.
Well, I do know that they're still talking about recession. So that is still lingering in the backs of people's minds. And I know that there's been speculation of a lot more layoffs coming up. But to me, for the clients that I've been speaking with, that is not a concern at this point. I think for them, their concern is, should we, I don't want to rent another year.
Mm-hmm.
And they're at the point still where a few of them didn't buy at the lower interest rates, so they've learned not to wait out the market.
Mm-hmm.
So have a change of attitude, and sometimes you need things to happen in different ways to get that little change of attitude. But they're more serious at this point.
Yeah, I would say what's been positive with a lot of my clients is just the feeling of a little bit more stability. That them doing something today, they're not going to regret, a month from now if things change drastically. Like the fact that it's been a little bit more even keel, recently I think has been positive.
Well, and that's reflected in the data. So homebuyer sentiment, according to Inman, ticked up for the second month in a row in December as consumers have started to come back around to the views of the economists and that are out there that are talking about home prices, mortgage rates, and they probably peaked last year. And that's all according to Fannie Mae's monthly National Housing Survey. And they put some statistics on this like they always do. But if you look at this here, it talks about home purchase sentiment. So that kind of peaked like end of 2020, end of 2019, beginning of 2020, dropped dramatically during the pandemic. And then if you look at this chart here, which we can share and put on the recording, this is the first time it's ticked up really since probably since the end of 2021. So that to me is pretty interesting, and it sounds like you're seeing that in the field, which is exciting. So what Doug Duncan said, who's the chief economist for Fannie Mae, that because the HPSI, that's the Home Purchaser Sentiment Index, I think we should just come up and make our own statistics because these people come up with stuff all the time. It inched upwards slightly as consumers reported increased expectations that rates and prices may decrease over the next year, reflecting some of those declines in that a lot of economists are forecasting. So you're hearing it from buyers. So are they becoming more active? And what about the sellers that want to go buy a home too? Because I think that's really been the clog or the bottleneck in this whole housing inventory issue is these people are just so afraid to jump into the marketplace in the first place.
The folks that I'm talking to, the sellers, the potential sellers, they've pretty much have been waiting out the market, but there's such a need for them to expand because of their families have expanded that they don't want to wait anymore. So they're willing to, explore and learn all the options that they have for selling, and they can still capitalize on the seller's market. They'll have a lot of equity in the home that they can put towards their new upsized home, and the interest rates aren't as scary. There's a lot of good programs, good financial products out there, and there's ways that you can, craft offers, and there's more opportunity, I think, for buyers because they can negotiate more.
Right.
So it's all positive.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think that for sellers, you've still got a great opportunity to absolutely capitalize on your investment and then make your next move without it being such a, punch in the gut as it maybe was before when it was like, yeah, I made out like a bandit on the sell side, but now where am I going? What am I doing? Now that things have like lightened a little bit, I think people are absolutely more willing to kind of explore that or think about what their next steps might be as opposed to just being like, no. And I mean, ultimately what we do need is more sellers to come to the market to keep things like moving in the right direction.
Well, and that's what the public's seeing right now based on the survey. So the share of respondents saying now is a good time to buy was still low. It was 21%, but that was up from 16% in October and November. So that's, you're looking at a 25% increase. And sellers, their sentiment hasn't really dropped too much. It was at 54% where people thought it was a good time to sell. Now it's down to 51%. So to me, you want to be in the market when you see that first upswing. I know when we were in the 2020 pandemic, the first thing we were charting was showing activity in Pennsylvania, and it cratered. And when we saw that first little blip up, everyone got really excited. And that's what a lot of predictors and analysts do. So the fact that we're seeing the slight upturns is important. CNBC was talking about this as well, and what they had mentioned was that they feel some of this is thanks to falling home prices. So are prices really falling? I see this a lot, and I guess they're maybe down from the peak, but I don't see prices going down anywhere. What are you two saying? And obviously this is local. I think we need to kind of preface that because we're in a very large marketplace here. So what are you seeing locally? I'm going to share the stats, but what are you seeing in the field right now? Because this is, again, a lag indicator versus what's happening in the market January 10th, mid-January versus the November statistics we have.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see things really dropping. Depending on the house, I am starting to see, sellers are in different cases accepting under ask offers. They are offering some different concessions, but as a whole, here locally, I'm not seeing, prices plummeting. I've had to have a couple of different conversations with buyers who, were under the impression that, well, if I wait a little bit longer, this is going to, everything's just going to drop significantly. And just kind of explaining that around here, there's absolutely opportunity in different homes to get, depending on what they consider the deal to be. We can make that work. But as a whole, waiting around a couple months doesn't suddenly mean you're going to be getting a steal on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's definitely not been any home prices falling for sure in our area.
Mm-hmm.
The homes that you see sitting on the market a little bit longer, they, in my opinion, were priced a little more aggressively anyway from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And, the market dictates what the home's value is, if somebody's willing to pay a certain amount of money for a home.
Mm-hmm.
And since we still have a lot of buyers in our area looking to buy, there's still considerable competition. So if it is a house that's, move-in ready for the most part, it's going to get a lot of competition.
Mm-hmm.
So that home price is not going to fall. So when people see homes sitting on the market a little bit longer, there's probably certain conditions about the home that aren't as desirable as those move-in ready homes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the bathrooms have not been updated or the kitchen hasn't been updated. It's a sound home, but it doesn't look cosmetically pretty like the other one down the street that went for, still went for $25,000 over asking.
Right.
So there's a lot of differences in the houses that you see on the market. But for the most part, generally in our area, and especially in the suburbs here too, I haven't seen prices falling. And when people tell me that they're waiting for the prices to fall, I just ask them, well, how far are you, what are you looking for? Are you looking for $50,000 price reductions? Are you looking for $100,000?
Right.
First of all, you don't want that because everybody's appreciative value is gone.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not realistic, and that's not going to happen. But
Right.
it's funny when you ask them that question, they're stumped.
Right. Well, and then it's also interesting because it's like, are you looking to see price reduction? Like, do you want to see that? Or is it that you think that homes are going to come to the market already priced lower than what they had been before? Because those are kind of two different things.
Two different things, yeah.
And if they're just coming too lower, do you know, like, if you're not in this looking at these every day, do you even realize it,
Right. And why would they be priced lower if there's comps to show?
Right. Right.
That would just generate more competition, and you'll have a lot of offers.
Right. And then
and it'll go over asking. Exactly. Yep.
Well, that's a great point. And I see people saying this all the time. So I want to give some predictions of what we're hearing from national experts. But let me give you the local numbers because I want to talk about what's happening in the greater Philadelphia area. Chester County through November, year-to-date median sales price is up 9.6%.
Wow.
So that doesn't look like a negative to me.
That's a good positive.
I mean, that's
a healthy
substantial.
positive.
I mean, that's more than the norm. Delaware County, 10% median sale price increase year over year through November. 10.0. I'm not just rounding down here. Montgomery County, 8.5% median sale price increase year over year through the month of November. And Philadelphia, and this is going to be the one that varies a little bit, is a 2.7% increase. So we're not seeing prices go the other way. What we are seeing is that the markets are local. I think cities are under a little more downward pressure on pricing in general because a lot of people are still moving out of there, and the millennial home buyers are forming families. That has not changed. That trend's been around for a while. So rates coming down is great. That's part of this. I don't know that it's prices coming down in our market. To me, it's the normalization of the ability to negotiate, the process, having time to make decisions. Buyers don't feel as rushed, and that was a major issue. And there's no data that's going to qualify that. This is good for the market because what we went through was unsustainable. Would you want to go through that again?
No,
No.
it's unsustainable.
Besides the government shutdowns, would you want to go through the real estate market again?
Oh, I would definitely give it a go for sure. I would just have to take like a week off before just to prep.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a
Mentally get
marathon
there.
event, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, sure. But no, as far as, people were extremely frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
We worked with a lot of buyers who became really frustrated. It just wasn't a healthy, balanced market as it should have been.
Right.
And a lot of people are predicting flat pricing this year or maybe a couple percentage points. And that to me is the more likely issue. I mean, this is economics 101. One of the classes I did pass in college where it's you got supply and you got demand. And right now the demand is higher than the supply. So it's not going to change. As we've seen inventory come up, it's going to have to come up a lot more. So I'm glad to see home price sentiment is up or home purchaser sentiment is up because you don't want to have one side of the transaction feels like they're getting destroyed no matter what. It's going to really grind on people, and ideally the market operates in a way where both sides feel like they're giving up a little bit because if that's the case, that means that everyone kind of got a fair deal, and we're not even close to that yet. To me, it's still very clearly a seller's market. It's just easier for buyers, and and we've seen that even with first-time home buyers ticking up. They're about 8 percentage points up from where they were last year in 2020. the end of 2021 versus the end of 2022. 2021, it was only about 37% of purchasers were first-time home buyers, and now it's 45%. So, and historically, it's been in that low 40% range. So, to me, this is all good news for the market. It tells me if you're a seller, I would not be messing around with trying to time the market. I'd be thinking about getting your home on the market now and looking to sell it before June. And we're going to be in a very seasonal market this year like we have been historically. So I'm clear that's going to be really important for a lot of the home sellers that are out there.
I agree.
I agree.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break. This might be my favorite story we've covered coming up. The Redfin CEO had a meltdown on Twitter before New Year's Eve. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about why it happened, some of the things that went on. This is Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM.
Have you considered a career in real estate? Do you want control over your income? Whether you have a license or not, call us today at 610-692-6976 or visit TomToole.com. Join our team, the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line.
When you're getting a mortgage, you shouldn't have to sacrifice great service just to get a great rate. At Mortgage America, we've been lending with this philosophy for over 35 years. We have access to great low rates without the complications and delays of big or online banks. We're a local Pennsylvania lender with loan officers that you can actually meet. As PHFA's #1 lender, we specialize in all residential mortgage programs, including first-time buyer programs and low down payment options. For your free pre-approval, call us at 610-439-8000 or apply online at mymortgageamerica.com.
Mortgage America's equal housing lender, NMLS 12850.
The Tom Toole Sales Group is the #1 RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania with over $165 million in volume for 2021. I'm Tom Toole, and our team has achieved that kind of success by being a great place to work with and to work for. No one knows Greater Philly better than we do. We know real estate, but more importantly, we're real people. We hire the best agents, and we give them all the tools to succeed. Even our brand new agents sell 17 to 24 homes a year because our team delivers the best experience in real estate. Teams deliver a better experience than individuals, and we're a top 1% real estate team in the country. We call it AAA service. We're your advocate, ally, and advisor. Because this isn't a transaction to us. It's a relationship. If you're buying or selling a home, call the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line at 610-692-6976 or visit TomToole.com. That's TomToole.com. Sell your home for more, and remember the real estate golden rule. You always get more when you work with Tom Toole.
For the best local mortgage service and great rates on your money, look no further than Mortgage America. We've been operating in the greater Philadelphia area for 40 years with a focus on smooth, easy access to home purchasing. Whether you're a first-time buyer, upsizing or downsizing, or just refinancing, we have programs for you. We also have closing cost assistance programs and access to subsidized interest rates. Pre-approval is free, no costs or commitments. To learn more, visit our website at mymortgageamerica.com or give us a call at 610-439-8000. We always have a person available to take your call with around-the-clock human service. Purchase your home with the personalized, local service you find at Mortgage America.
Mortgage America's equal housing lender, NMLS 128501.
We are back on Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM. I'm Tom Toole. She's Stacey Mitchell. She's Sarah Tymon. We've got Gabe behind the camera, and we all work at the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line, the #1 RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania since 2018. And you can find us streaming live every week on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Just look up Tom Toole Sales Group and make sure to subscribe and give us a like. So this to me is one of the things I love about real estate. Irrational reactions over things that are meant to be harmless because Glenn Selman, I can't even say his name right. Glenn Kelman, CEO of Redfin, had a meltdown before the end of the year on Twitter after Chris Smith from Curator, and he also wrote the conversion code. He co-authored What You Say Matters for Real Estate Agents, which a lot of us have read. He posted a couple jokes about if real estate companies kept it real with their homepage headlines, Redfin was #1, and Glenn Kelman lost it. Tell me what you think about this headline. Is it that offensive? People love using our app, period. Using our agents, not so much. And all of a sudden on Twitter, if you go look at this, Glenn Kelman loses it and basically says, where was it here? Hold on. I got to find this. Why mock up insults over the holidays? If you had bad service from a Redfin agent, please tell us. Redfin customers are more likely to use us again. For 7 years, we've sold homes for more money. For 18, we've gained share. I don't know what that means. The people you're disparaging are my colleagues and friends. This kept going. If you have no data or even anecdotal experience to back this up beyond Jurassic-era attitudes towards brokers competing on price, please take it down. You're better than that, Chris. And then all of a sudden, it went off, and he lost it. So what does his reaction tell you about his company? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you have to be able to take a joke here. And he also, what's interesting is I was just looking at the times for like when this was posted. So Chris Smith, if this time is correct, posted it 10:05 a.m. December 29th. The reaction came in 8 p.m. December 30th. So he thought about that. That wasn't even just a like quick, like somebody said something and I like fired something back. Like he thought that was a really good response.
Yeah, and it's funny how this all goes down because he made fun of other people, by the way. So let's get into his reaction in a second. But he also made fun of Realtor.com. He said Zillow, but for boomers. I thought that was pretty funny. Trulia, we can't believe we are still around. Zillow, we didn't get rid of realtors, but we got rich trying to. Better, I don't know if I can say this on the radio. Our CEO is an a-hole, and I thought that was a good one. And Open Door, we make it really easy to get a really bad offer. So, I mean, every company was in the crosshairs. I thought it was hysterical. I love this. I thought it was a great, it probably worked out better for Curator than they even realized because they got all this press. I mean, do you think is Glenn worried? Is he self-conscious? I'd love to have him come on the show and explain all this. I'm sure he's listening right now. So what do you think about this, Stace?
Well, it's extremely defensive. So there lies the question. Like you said, Tom, is he what is he nervous? What's he nervous about? Those, they are funny. And there were 6 of them, right? There were
there were 6.
6 memes or 6 posts.
Redfin was the first one that got posted, though.
But it's funny. It's supposed to be humor, and I think that's what's lost today. Mm-hmm. Like, no one has a sense of humor.
Right.
If you do, I think you're afraid to express it. God forbid somebody's going to,
get offended.
Yeah, get offended. And I think that's another issue. People are just overly sensitive about everything today when you should just lighten up a little bit. It was funny. If he went through and read the other memes, he probably would have gotten a kick out of it instead of, firing off these crazy tweets in response. And what really cracks me up, I love him because this is the new thing too. You're better than this. Everybody, and it's like
I'm not better than that. I thought it was hysterical.
I thought it was too, but they always throw that at the end. You're better than this. And it's like, well, no, you shouldn't have even responded.
Right.
You gave it credibility by responding to it.
Right. Like, I think this is one where, maybe if you saw it, you didn't like it, move on. You don't have to create a whole thing because that's just giving it, fire. And right. It's like, what are you so nervous about that you had to be so defensive? And like in all of those, there is some truth behind it. So
right.
That's probably it. But, yeah.
So 285,000 people saw this tweet. And that's incredible to me. And I think a lot of people thought it was kind of funny. But and this went on. People were responding to this nonstop. I responded to the tweet and I said, Glenn, I've worked with your agents. Chris is right. Sweet website. So I'm right there. And I think it's, if you look at what's going on with Redfin, their stock price is down 89.11% year to date. So I would be nervous if I was Glenn Kelman because you know what CEOs get judged on? What happens with the stock price of your company. In addition, I think that you look at the consumer reviews that are out there. Well, Redfin has a 3.3 star review out of 5 on Google for their local office here in Philadelphia. And they've got a 2.8 star review on Consumer Affairs. So I would argue that the data is there that Redfin is not great. What has your experience been with Redfin agents?
Yeah.
That says it all right there. Yeah.
Not good.
Not great. Yeah.
When I see it's a Redfin agent on the other side of a transaction, I'm just like, but have you ever been the listing agent and gotten an offer from a Redfin agent?
Yes.
I can't remember.
I've only ever come across them when it's on the listing side. And as soon as I see that, I'm just like, oh boy. hearing back from somebody is pretty difficult. It's just getting the basic information that you need to even find out like what's going on with the property is tough.
It's very tough. No response.
When you call into like it's very rarely like a direct number to the agent that you need to talk to. You get like just funneled into some massive system. I think actually looking back over all the years, I can remember one Redfin agent that called me back.
Wow. You know what? I don't have a recollection.
Yeah. And I just remember it because I remember being like, oh my God, they called me back.
Yeah, it was more shocking that they called you back.
Right.
That's saying something right there. Yeah. But I love how somebody fired back at Glenn about stats. Sold more homes for more money than whom? ? Average agent? ? Median agent? ? Curious where the stats are coming from and calculated. So, but I didn't see him, coming back with any stats.
Well, he doesn't have any stats.
Right.
I mean, I've dealt with Redfin agents. I've got an anecdotal segment I can share where they, you guys might remember this listing. It was a listing we had. It was like on a cliff in the Wayne, Upper Marion area. It was about the end of 2020. I don't know if you show it, but the house was literally a 45-degree angle on the driveway. Redfin agent writes an offer, doesn't even call me before I get the offer. Above asking price. We weren't getting another offer on the house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, this is great. And all of a sudden, what they ended up doing was they cost their client more money. Meanwhile, I know an agent who interviewed for the listing for the same client. And the delta they were talking about was about $3,500, and the difference between what a normal agent would have charged versus the Redfin fee structure. I'm not going to talk about commissions. It's just I know what the delta was. They cost their client more than that on the purchase price by not picking up the phone and calling me and saying, hey, do you have any other offers? What's going on with the house? So that's a prime example where they cost the consumer money. 3.3 stars sucks, okay? Like, that's not a good number. And it's, the consumer reviews are there. And I think what Glenn's worried about is his company has been tanking 89% decline in your stock price. I wouldn't be too happy about that.
Yeah.
And he's got to be feeling the pressure there because especially in a market like this where now you got to negotiate. You have to understand the marketplace. You have to return phone calls. Redfin agents will show 30 to 40 homes in a weekend, which is horrible. They get paid per showing, so they got no incentive to actually close a sale.
Right.
This model of discount brokerages has failed historically time and time again, and he's feeling it. And I think that and Chris Smith, I know his partner, Jimmy Mackin. I talked to him pretty regularly when we were up in Boston. I saw him the night before when we were with Tom Ferry. Very smart guy. That company does a lot of good business. And if you look at Chris's response, he's like, well, that escalated quickly. And he's and all of a sudden this is on The Real Deal. It's on Broke Agent Media. This is a problem. And I think he's really nervous about what's going on because, like, we're all business owners here. All three of us, right? You own your own business.
Yep.
The team supports your business, however you want to look at it. Glenn is at the mercy of the stockholders, and the stockholders cannot be happy with an 89% decline in their share price. And that is where all this is coming from right now. And I think every real estate CEO, for the most part, some of them have done well, but a lot of them have been laying off people, losses constantly. Look at Better. This is the environment we're in now that you can't just show up and sell a home. That, to me, is what's going on here. If he was good about it, he would have wrote LOL, good one, or something like that. Or just shut up.
Yeah, just left it alone. Yep.
Right.
Left it alone. Not even have gotten engaged because now he's opened up a can of worms and people who might not even have noticed this and have seen it are now all in on it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yep.
So what do you think happens with Redfin? This to me is an interesting topic because they do have a decent amount of agents in the area, but they still got that discount brokerage issue that's there. So, I think they get sold. I think someone's going to buy them. I don't know who. Maybe it's Zillow. Maybe it's some other large company. Their website is great. Their website's their biggest asset. I know people, especially millennial home buyers and other home, like there's people that go to Redfin all the time. I find that to be pretty valuable. I think their website is a tangible asset. It's just their agents just aren't trained. They don't know what's going on. And a lot of times they make errors in the transaction like we talked about. What do you two think happens?
Well, it doesn't look like they're going to change their business model as far as that goes. And if they do it, it's a total revamp, which would be a huge undertaking. But as Tom said, the website is great. So that's a valuable asset right there. And that could be sold. And I know, Zillow's
Yeah.
always looking to expand.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I think that because they have to answer to shareholders, they're not going to be able to just skate by on what's been going on. And like, absolutely, their website is very useful. I mean, I have tons of clients who like send me listings from Redfin. You know what I mean? Like, they'll look at it and be like, hey, check this one out, So it's, yeah, people love to use it to search. But I think that they're going to have to make some changes here, and it probably would be in the form of a sale to be able to answer to everybody.
I think they're getting sold. I mean, these companies can't continue to operate at these losses for forever, that's part of the challenge that we have here. So maybe Glenn should chill out next time. Maybe he had a couple too. Byron Lazine, good friend of mine, said maybe he had too many hot cocos over the holiday. I don't know if they were Irish hot cocos or what.
Yeah,
you got to control yourself on social media.
Yeah,
have you ever written something and like deleted it and like I shouldn't post that?
No, because I'm always very concerned about that, and for the most part, I don't post because I'm very concerned about that. So it's like a double-edged sword. But you see so many people that put so much stuff out on social media, and then it's like, why would you? What were you thinking, or what were you drinking?
Right.
You know what I mean? I think a lot of it has to do with that.
Yeah.
But it's like, don't do it. It's like, don't even text people. Like, just put the phone down.
Right.
Walk away.
Yeah.
Think about it for a day. Sleep on it.
Right.
Would you send the same tweet? Would you send the same message? Would you send the same email?
Right. And I feel like that goes just for like life in general. Like rather than having that like quick response when something doesn't go your way.
Yep.
You're better off just like taking a minute and thinking it through. And then in most cases, especially with like social media, when you're just putting that out there for everyone, like
I know.
Why?
It's like I equate it to a temper tantrum.
Oh yeah. Well, and it's so funny because when like,
and these are adults.
Oh yeah, and like it's so funny because there are some people that like love it. Like they love to get in like
the drama.
Oh my gosh, like
get a life.
Yes.
Right. Oh my gosh, it's ridiculous. I've like never had any conflict there.
I stay far away from that.
Yeah.
You're right though. People love it. They'll jump in on a fight on Facebook. It's like, what? People are insane. Like,
right.
Well, like, what does Glenn want? Okay, don't insult me during the holidays, but come January 5th, bring it on. Like, I don't understand his thought process here. So, and I've seen him speak. They've got a broken model they're trying to reestablish again, and their website is great, but I can count on two hands and probably my feet how many discount brokers I've seen fail. And it just and they instituted the discount because they thought consumers wanted it, and data found out the consumer really didn't care in the first place. So I don't know. I mean, you got to control yourself. I mean, I give Chris a lot of credit for doing this. Chris Smith, major shout. I actually DM'd him and said, good job, dude, because I thought it was fantastic. And I thought it was really funny on top of it all.
Yeah, it was very funny. I enjoyed it.
Take a chill pill, Glenn. That's the message here. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We have the CEO of Unite from Her coming on, Sue Weldon. Very excited. We just did a great charity event at our office in the month of October about Unite for Her. It's to support breast cancer survivors and breast cancer patients. So we're going to talk all about that next on Tool Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM.
You shouldn't have to deal with all the red tape when getting your mortgage from a big or online bank. At Mortgage America, we have access to big bank money, but with the personalized and detailed service of a local bank. We are here in your community and ready to serve with fast settlements, low down payment options, and first-time homebuyer programs. Pre-approval is free, no costs or commitments. For more information, visit our website at mymortgageamerica.com or give us a call at 610-439-8000.
Mortgage America's equal housing lender, NMLS 128501.
When you're getting a mortgage, you shouldn't have to sacrifice great service just to get a great rate. At Mortgage America, we've been lending with this philosophy for over 35 years. We have access to great low rates without the complications and delays of big or online banks. We're a local Pennsylvania lender with loan officers that you can actually meet. As PHFA's #1 lender, we specialize in all residential mortgage programs, including first-time buyer programs and low down payment options. For your free pre-approval, call us at 610-439-8000 or apply online at mymortgageamerica.com.
Mortgage America's equal housing lender, NMLS 128501.
I'm Tom Toole of the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line. If you're thinking of becoming a real estate agent in the greater Philly area, I have a special offer for you. Our team did $165 million of volume in 2021, making us the #1 RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania and a top 1% team nationally. Our agents love us because we offer them a successful career, a great life, and an unbeatable culture. Agents who've been with us for at least a year average 30-plus sales. Even our brand new agents average 17 to 24 sales a year. We offer proven systems and expert training. We help you set more appointments and sell more houses. Now here's the offer. If you don't have a real estate license yet, we offer real estate scholarships so you can get one for free. Check it out at realestatescholarshipprogram.com or visit the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Mainline at tomtoole.com. That's tomtoole.com. Get more out of your real estate career, and remember the real estate golden rule. You always get more when you work with Tom Toole.
Have you considered a career in real estate? Do you want control over your income? Whether you have a license or not, call us today at 610-692-6976 or visit tomtoole.com. Join our team, the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Mainline.
All right. Welcome back to Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM. I'm Tom Toole. She's Sarah Tymon. She's Stacey Mitchell. We got Gabe behind the camera, and we all work at the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Mainline, the #1 RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania since 2018. You can get us live every week, streaming on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Just look up Tom Toole Sales Group. Give us a like. Make sure to follow. And we have got an amazing guest coming on here right now. We've got Sue Weldon on the line, CEO of Unite for Her, an amazing charity. You can visit the website. It's uniteforher.org, just like it sounds, unite, FORHER.org. Sue, thank you so much for coming on. We're excited to chat with you here.
Thank you, Tom. My pleasure.
So can you give everyone a little bit of background about your charity? I mean, obviously, we did a pretty large event, raised a couple $1,000s for it. But tell us a little bit about you and your charity, and then we can kind of go from there.
Yeah, sure. So Unite for Her is a national nonprofit, and what we do is we provide integrative care. Think about supportive services, complementary care like acupuncture, yoga, nutrition, fresh vegetables sent to the home, sexual health counseling, Reiki, things that aren't covered by the standard of care that actually help you do better physically and emotionally. And we provide $2,000 worth of services to those going through a breast or an ovarian cancer diagnosis. We are treating about 5,010 women and men newly diagnosed this year across the nation. And it's events like the one that your team had at RE/MAX that just help us move forward and continue to raise more funds so that we can have, more that we can serve. We are now, nationally known, and the last thing we want is to have any wait list at all. So as an 18-year survivor, it is really what I lived, Tom. It was, it came from my own personal experience, and what I saw was a gap, in the standard of care, and what I used in order to help myself get well emotionally and physically without more drugs and prescriptions. And we basically, made that business model in 2009 over what I lived back in 2004.
So that's an amazing reason to start a charity, because what I find is that, there's a lot of larger charities out there, but they don't realize the personal toll that it takes on people to have something like breast cancer or have an illness like that. So what I really like about, my mother's a breast cancer survivor. We've had a lot of people that were in the office when we had our charity back in October that did that. So what's maybe the best way for people to get involved with the charity right now? And then we can go into some additional questions, but I think it's really important to go over that first.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, if you go to info@uniteforher.org, we just love to know what your goals are, right? Like, what do you love to do? What do you thrive on? How can you help support us? Because we have volunteer opportunities. We have opportunities that can connect us to your companies. Just like there's so many different areas in the companies that support community outreach. Mm-hmm. We have opportunities to support grants that are associated with companies, and just getting those introductions that we can actually have this impact, that a lot of companies have the intent to serve and to support those affected by breast cancer and ovarian, especially if they're under-supported, underrepresented across the nation. We are there to bridge those gaps. So for us, we just love to know what fuels our volunteers, fuels those that are passionate about giving, and then we match those goals, right? So just go to info@uniteforher.org and tell us, what you would like to do in order to serve our nonprofit, and we'll get you in the right place.
Amazing. So, I mean, this just hits home, I think, for a lot of people because I don't think folks realize how much breast cancer touches almost all families that are out there in some way. So, the event you did at our office, I thought was pretty impactful. Do you want to kind of share a little bit about that? Because we got a ton of people that volunteered. We raised a lot of money, and I think it's, so you mentioned some of the care that you give to people emotionally outside of, drugs and treatment. How does that, how do the survivors and the patients, how do they react to that? Because that to me is the most exciting part about this.
Yeah, well, it's being able to actually give them control and tools in order to manage side effects and symptoms is key, because as a cancer survivor and knowing that firsthand, you lose so much confidence and you lose so much control. And what Unite for Her does is brings that back one step at a time, but gives you the resources and the opportunity to get access to this without any, funds that are coming away from your finances that it might be really hard to pull from. A lot of this is not covered by the standard of care. So to be able to mitigate headaches, bone pain, neuropathy, any type of, nausea, hot flashes, so many things that happen from cancer treatment themselves, a depleted immune system, exhaustion, depression, all those types of emotional and physical symptoms and side effects need to be managed. And for us to come in and give you those tools, and you feel like you have something that you can control in a disease that you had no control over. So for us, we're like that lifeline for our patients, for our members. It's that missing piece that allows them to get through treatment, do better, and adhere to their treatment schedule. Our physicians and hospital partners love Unite for Her because we help them do better on treatment and then get to that other side, or if they're living with metastatic breast cancer, we never leave their side. We're always with them, giving them access to this kind of care, this kind of, food delivery, cooking classes, counseling sessions, because they are on treatment, ongoing. So Unite for Her wants to be there ongoing. You talked a little bit, Tom, about your event. I'll go back to that question. Your event was incredible, and that was, really community driven. And that's what happens when people say, how can I help? This is exactly what your team said. How can we help? But they created it all. They together said, oh, we're going to have this, pink event, and named it and had, a cupcake sale, like simple, right? But that people are laying down those funds to support. You're just providing a platform for them to do so. And to have, some people in the office that we serve that felt so connected to the cause because they could feel how we were able to help them, and they wanted to pass that along. And just getting sponsors and different people who are in your network to support your event, then you raise and set a goal and then give those funds to Unite for Her. We come in, we support you, help you on the back end. But it was driven by your community. It was driven by your team. And that helps Unite for Her tremendously, is when the community sets it up, raises the funds, and invites us to the event to deliver those funds.
Love that. Go ahead, Sarah.
No, I was just going to say this is amazing. Because I'm sure, as someone's going through all of this, there are so many emotions, so many things that they need to be able to get assistance with, and with some of these different therapies and treatments, having the stress of trying to figure out how to budget for that if things aren't being covered, that just adds more. You're trying to de-stress and be able to get in the best mental place that you can be, and that would just be piling on, like, wait, there's these other things out here that could work for me, could reduce some of these symptoms, could make my life better, but how am I going to pay for it? And then that just builds on more stress. So the fact that you guys are stepping in and helping solve that piece of the puzzle there, I'm sure just takes so much stress off of them, and also allows them to explore some of these other solutions and take a little bit of control back. Yeah, you got it. You're spot on. And that control and confidence is so key for emotional well-being, and then that's key for physical well-being. It's a cycle, and just one step at a time, we just empower and walk, that walk with each of our members to make sure that we meet them where they are, because everybody's different. Everybody's going to approach this disease differently. And how can we make sure that we have a program that is tailored to their needs, their unique individual needs? Because all reaction and all ways of dealing with cancer is the correct way. It is very difficult, and some people
approach it in a way that is very high energy. Others people approach it in a way that's so low energy they can't get off the couch. They're all right answers, right? Because it is something that's impacted your life. We get in there to give you the tools that you can then build to get that life back, right? And even be stronger than before.
Hi, Sue. This is Stacey. And I just realized that I remember you going through this back in '08 or '09. We had shared experience, or not shared experience in that sense, but at my salon business that I had in Westchester. So I remember you fondly, along with your mother-in-law. And I just wanted to say, I think this is incredible because you have developed a whole community. Like, this is somewhere where somebody could just jump right in and feel at home. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to embrace every person that reaches out, and they'll be brought into the fold for as little as they need or as much as they need of the support.
Yeah, you got it.
And your website is amazing. Like, you have a member portal. I mean, this is so much bigger than just, I don't know. I think if you dive into the website and see everything that you offer, and especially that there's this member portal that people can become a part of, I think this is just incredible.
Yeah, thank you. I know. Stacey, did you work with Kay
on
her nails?
Yes. Yes. And
okay. Yeah. And it was actually 2004. I was diagnosed in 2004, and the nonprofit was formed in 2009. So it was around then. But she loved going to you. Her beautiful K Day on Wednesdays.
Well, thank you. But I love your organization. And I'm sorry I didn't get to see you at the event, but next event that we do, I'm sure. But I mean, this is truly amazing. And well, thank you. And the website is a Wealth of Knowledge. And
just for us, during the pandemic is when we went nationwide, and it was such a big learning for us during the pandemic. There was so much, that we had to deliver, and the whole world shut down, and cancer didn't stop, and it enabled us to think differently and reinvent the model. And when we reinvented that model to a virtual platform, everything mailed to their homes, all the virtual, the speaker series and Ask the Experts and nutrition consults and cooking demos and fitness and yoga and Reiki, and all of that ended up going through a digital type of, FaceTime, Zoom, and we paid for it. We then could go anywhere in the nation. So we can treat anywhere. We are located here, our hometown of Westchester, right outside of Philadelphia, but we can now serve anywhere. And that was really such an opportunity that we were able to optimize on during a time that was just really having us go, okay, we got to figure this out, because cancer did not stop, and in 2021, we did a pilot to go nationwide.
Wow. Yeah, and you're right. Cancer did not stop, because people were extremely frustrated. They couldn't even get to their appointments or have their diagnostics. So it was truly, taking 10 steps backwards as far as for folks that were living through the fear of this disease. But your website is truly amazing with all the education, the services that are available. People probably don't even realize the integrative therapies that you have. And I
we
think
can
it's
just,
so important.
if anybody is listening that is, wanting to understand more about the Unite for Her program, they were newly diagnosed within the last 18 months, just go to uniteforher.org/apply USA. And that way you can actually apply for the program if you're within that 18 months of being diagnosed, and we can get you into our community.
Wow.
Love that. So again, the website is uniteforher.org. We're here with Sue Weldon, CEO of Unite for Her. And one of the cool things I see here, you mentioned that you're trying to build a community, and you said something pretty pertinent earlier, that everyone reacts to this stuff differently. Some people have a lot of energy. Other people are going to, sit on the couch and not have a lot of energy. And that's all absolutely the correct way to do it, to your point. What I love is you're trying to build a community here. I'm looking at your calendar right now. There's a virtual hangout, right? There's Why Is It Going Plant-Based Important? A speaker series about, it looks like weight and breast cancer. Ask the Experts immunotherapy and how your immune system works. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that I think a lot of people need help with, because you're going to get so much information from your doctor, but then there's also, and we do this in real estate all the time. Hey, Stacey, you've been through this. Can you tell me what happened? Or Tom, you've been through this. Can you tell me what happened? And to me, that's probably as important, if not more, than talking to your doctor, because someone gets where you're at and it's going to help you get through it. And just if you can make it every day a little easier, like that to me is what's exciting about this organization.
Yeah, there's a lot of resources that you want to be able to have ready, right? And certain areas you rely on your medical team for. Certain areas you're going to rely on Unite for Her for. Certain areas you'll rely on your community for. But you have all these tools that you can dive into. And the calendar that you talked about, that's our virtual education calendar. And we do these every month. We have different topics. We have 5 this month that we're diving into. You mentioned them already. They're open to everybody. You can go to this, Tom. Anybody can sign up and click on there and be a part of that, or even watch the recordings on our Her library or our video library. You'll get a chance to really be able to dive in. We have cooking demos that become really webinars that teach our community how to get more plant-based food. Food is medicine. It just has fun, just has fun.
Awesome. So again, we have Sue. Thanks for coming on. So Sue Weldon, CEO of Unite for Her. You can visit their website, uniteforher.org. Email info@uniteforher.org to get involved with the charity. Sue, thanks so much for coming on. We're looking forward to continuing to support all the great work that you're doing locally and nationally. And that's it. We're getting played off like the Oscars.
Yeah, awesome.
So
love it.
You want to follow Sarah? She's at Ty_TyTime on Instagram. You can follow Stacey at @2 Mitchco on Instagram. You can follow me at Tom Toole 3RD. And we're streaming live every single week on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Just look up Tom Toole Sales Group. And that's it for this week's episode of Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM.